iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiskiTimes.co.za. Hello and welcome to yet another brand new week. It's a Monday morning as we record this. And of course, as always, we have Machaka. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you, sir?
It's great to be here once again.
You look like the Terminator. Thank
you. Sometimes you need to reintroduce yourself. Masilo Machaka Mutagwana champion himself. Thanks very much.
All right. You're the champion of losers or what? What champion? Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Khawkhelo as well, our videographer. She's a recording musician who never records music.
Okay.
She's a musician who hardly ever records music.
Okay.
Yeah, two main stories, Chucks, when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs and rumors. Of course, Miguel was announced officially. There's nothing much we can say about him because we don't know him. We've never seen him play. But you were linked in the last 7 days with two players, I suppose, throughout the transfer window. Number one, we'll talk about Percy Tau, that you were linked with, and we'll break it down. What's the situation there?
Yeah.
Number two, you were linked with Fawaz Basadin as well from Stellenbosch, who handed over his transfer request. He wants to leave Stellenbosch. It seems, we'll talk about that as well later on. Let's start with Percy Tau. It always seems as though with your transfers, it's never straightforward. It's always about the money you are offering is never enough. So with Percy Tau, for example, the story is that he's asking Ahly. Well, he's not in the plans of Ahly for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Now he's saying to Ahly, if you want me to go, pay me. And that amount of money in rands is 20 million, which is the remainder of his contract, right? Now with Kaizer Chiefs, they could either wait for Percy Tau to sort that out and then he can join them for free. But even then, it will be a matter of how much are you willing to pay in terms of salary as well. Or Kaizer Chiefs could then buy Tau straight from Ahly and then consider how old is he and whether or not that makes sense and so on and so forth. What do you make of Percy Tau as a player, and would he be a good addition to your team?
Absolutely, Nkululeko. Percy Tau, we know him since he was playing for Mamelodi Sundowns here in South Africa, and he also went to play abroad and went to Ahly. A great player indeed, well experienced. He played the Champions League, Club World Cup, and also CAF Super League.
Yeah.
And I think he did score a lot of goals for Ahly as well. Actually, that's what I'm saying. He's a well-experienced player.
Won a lot of trophies for them.
Yeah, for them. It will be a very, very great acquisition from Kaizer Chiefs to acquire the services of Percy Tau. Because remember, we haven't strengthened our striking department. We have signed
almost all the players you've signed are defenders and goalkeeper.
Yeah, so we need Tau as well at the moment. That's what I'm saying. It will be good for us, good for Kaizer Chiefs to acquire the services of Percy Tau, if indeed Ahly will be able to release him. Yes, if we've spoken about the man that he's looking for, 20 million or whatsoever. But if we are willing to get a player like Tau's caliber, we need to go and get him. If there's a need to pay, we need to discuss it with Ahly.
Well, one way or the other, Chucks, you're gonna pay. So you may not pay. So Ahly could say to Percy Tau, instead of us paying you every month, we are releasing you now because we're not gonna use you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they're not gonna use him. I don't understand that because he's still a good player.
Yeah.
Now Percy Tau could get his release, his clearance, and he could get his money from Ahly. But what you don't pay there in a transfer fee as Chiefs, you're going to pay in his salary. Because you get him for free, if you get him for free, you're going to have to make him the highest paid player at Kaizer Chiefs.
Absolutely, Nkululeko.
So one way or the other, you're going to have to pay.
We'll have to pay. We don't have a choice. I'm saying we haven't strengthened our striking department. We need him. We need a guy like Tau's caliber where he will be able to give us something up front. We are still lacking up front. We saw even last time and the previous years for the Clamor boys. Percy Tau is not going to come to the Chiefs village and to add numbers. No. He knows what to do. He can score goals. He can create as well goals. He's a clever person. Whereby he knows how to jungle the ball around, making sure that we eliminate all this kind of defenders. You can name them, but to Amakhosi, if you really need Percy Tau, this is the right time for us, or Remola to go Ahly. Whatever that the man that is mentioning, we have to go and break the bank. Let's break the bank for the guy and make sure that we compete amongst the best in the PSL.
Yeah, he's an international player as well, Bafana player.
Yeah.
Now, it won't be the first time that you get Sundowns players. And historically, what happens with you and former Sundowns players. Even Kiken Toli, you didn't get him directly from Sundowns. He went to France and then he came back to you. And also there was rumors that he was one of your highest paid players as well. So, and there's always this concern, Chiefs, why do you always sign these players from Sundowns after their peak as well? Do you genuinely still think that he could do the business for you?
The age is still on his side. 30-year-old Percy Tau, that I'm saying, talking about experience. I mean, you mentioned Bafana International, even though it didn't do well in the previous AFCON, but still, to have Percy Tau in your team, it speaks volumes. Because experience high Ngulux, even these youngsters, they will learn a lot from him. And also, I mean, that's what I'm saying, he'll give us something up front. So I still believe that, he can do a job for the Tlama boys.
All right. Let's move on to Fawaz Basadin, because this one is a story that, if you were listening to radio, a lot of radio interviews where they spoke to the interviews to the agent, and what we understand from that, of course, that was public knowledge from those interviews with the agent, is that Fawaz Basadin, of course, he was playing for Swallows actually before he went to Stellenbosch. I suppose if he was scouting properly, you would have convinced him not to leave Swallows for Stellenbosch, go straight to Chiefs, but that's a story for another day. He's handed over his transfer request. He wants to leave Stellenbosch. Clearly, Chiefs and Stellenbosch are not agreeing with the money that's put on the table, whatever amount it is. They're not happy with the amount that's put on the table. Sometimes people say someone is not for sale, but he is for sale until you give us the right amount. What's happening? What's your feeling about it? It's a left back. It's yet another left-footed player. I think Dove has an injury. You've just released Utlanti as well. Roshwin Dotlibati can play as a left-sided player on at the back. But maybe you do need to strengthen that left wing back as well. But why is it that it's always confusing whenever you want to play? It's never, because for example, Sundowns put in, but Stellenbosch officially said there was a release clause on the contract, Yaga Ikram Reinas,
Yes.
right? So that means if it's 15 million, Sundowns has put in that 15 million. That means Stellenbosch are forced to accept it. It's on the contract. It's a release clause. They must accept it, whether they don't want a player to go or not. If it's a release clause, a buyout clause, you have to accept it, whether you like it or not. Why does it seem, and maybe even with Dino van Rooyen, with Pirates, they just went there, how much? And then they put in the money. Why does it seem that it's always a problem with you and paying the price that's on the ticket?
Yeah, we've spoken about it even last week in Gulux, about the discussion, about the approach of the team, Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe the approach is not up to the scratch, whereby they be able to get what they want, the service that they want from the players. I mean, Fawaz, Basadin, I mean, a left back, he reminds me of a player like Sep Masilela, strong on his feet, be able to, move up and down in overlapping, giving, the midfielders and the strikers, something, on the field of play. So, Ngulux, yes, I'm not sure that I'm saying in terms of, discussion of Chiefs and other teams. Why is it always, a problem before we get a service for any player? So, as we've mentioned Sundowns and Paris. I mean, from Sundowns, Renas, yes. So
there was a price on the ticket. Sundowns paid that price.
Yes, and even on the Pirates as well, Van Rooyen. But Stellenbosch always lose these great players. I mean, it means we saw something in Basadien that we want. Especially on the side of our left back. I mean, we are lacking there. I mean, the only solid defenders that I still remember for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, you had Masile on the left side, you have Kaka on the right side, you have Mato and also Mashamaite,
Morgan Gold.
And on the 80 minutes, you'll bring in what do you call Morgan Gold. So just to close the show.
That's Stuart Baxter's Kaizer Chiefs.
Just imagine. So now we'll have Basadin. And also on the right side, yes, Frosler. I don't like to see Frosler on the left side all the time.
Solomons.
Frosler on the right side. And even the new player, Miguel, and also Msimang. So Ngulux, it will be a very, very solid Kaizer Chiefs defense if we acquire services of Basadin. So I'm hoping that Chiefs get Basadin without going up forth and back
Yeah.
in terms of signing him.
Because
and so forth.
it's in Obunyoro nale.
Yeah.
Again, it comes with the nonsense that came. You remember Velepai?
Velepai,
There was
yes.
nonsense. Good Ben Abazali. This one in Obunyoro Boguti. He now, whatever tactics they use behind the scenes, now the player has gone to the club. Ati, here's my transfer request in Funuham.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bonuguti now. Stellenbosch didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
They were treating the player well.
Yes.
They won a trophy with them. They get their bonuses. Now, oh, okay. Here's my I'm for the clearance.
Yeah.
As opposed to Nina, your colors. Nina, Nancy Malimfona, Nimtat. Because I don't think it's a difficult conversation. You were gonna get him if it's the right approach. Now it's the player. It was the parents on the other transfer. Now the player transfer request. Now is unhappy and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like now, even as these things unfold, when I check, and I'm being serious now.
Yeah.
The more the other clubs are watching,
Yeah.
all of them. Amazulu with Hanamub, they're watching this. All of the clubs that Chiefs might potentially want players from, they're watching. And Amazulu now, they're like, ooh, okay, so if these guys want Hanamub, if they don't get to Basadien, is Hanamub gonna hand over? Because once a player hands over a transfer request, he has the right to do that. Uti ansafuni uklalala ngifuna ukuhamba, right? But then the teams are gonna dislike anything that's linked Chiefs with their players. Why is it that when you want our players, it's never you with your briefcase of money and then you take the player?
Yes.
Yeah, but it must always be obunyoro, just some corner cutting. It's never a straightforward, give us money, you get the player. Oh, okay, add 2 more million on the money, then you will get the player. Yeah, but so now Stellenbosch are sitting with a player that even if they get beyond the transfer window, so even if he stays at Stellenbosch for whatever reason, Chiefs maybe don't raise their offer, the player still has I wanted to go. Because it's very rare in football that players hand over the transfer request to go to clearance.
Absolutely. I mean, the player make it clear for us, for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, is it clear? You know, the door is open for him. He said, no, I want to go. So Chiefs, I want to come and play for you. What do you do? You know, he's still waiting for Chiefs to come with an offer, to put on the table, say, okay, Stellenbosch, offer so much, please give us a player. So that's it. You don't need to go forth and back with this kind of things. I mean, that what I'm saying is it's gonna add value. Go Kaizer Chiefs, especially on the left side of it. So I'm saying to Klama boys, man, let's do the right thing, man. Let's get the players and without going forth and back and make sure that we compete amongst the best.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Chucks. Thank you. Lovely to see you this Monday morning. And thank you to everyone who's watching us as well. Let us know what you think about this. Of course, if you are gold and you are a Kaizer Chiefs fan, I suppose you would lean towards your club. But historically, if you understand history and if you understand what has happened in the last 10 years with transfers, you will know there's only one common factor here, always. And it's not the conspiracy of people raising their prices. No, they don't do that. They don't raise their prices just because it's Chiefs. The highest payer in the market in South Africa is Sundowns. The highest. That's one team that everyone just overpriced their players. And Sundowns still pays. And Orlando Pirates as well. They've done great recruitment over the last 5-7 years. They want a player, they go and buy the player. But whenever it comes to the other big team, which is Kaizer Chiefs, the biggest of all of them, there's always a problem. And the point I'm making is that the other clubs are watching and they're like, whoa, okay. Now, if I'm Polokwane City and Chiefs want Ozwena Police, am I going to have to deal with, instead of them giving me 10 million, now am I going to have to deal with a police angabikho training? These kind of tricks and tactics, it's a concern. It's a concern, especially for a team that definitely has the money because they have Super Sport Bet, they have Vodacom, they have a lot of sponsors, they have more sponsors than everyone else. They can be able to afford the players that they want. What do you think about that transfer? Do you agree with Chucks that Basadien will add value? Do you agree with Chucks that even Percy Tau will add value? Let us know in the comment section. iDiskiTV, iDiskiTimes, Sports Betting. Thank you for watching us.